Sports.
Kicking it with the Crosbys.
That felt good. I think it's time for the dance party.
Reese, it's your show. I'm just I'm waiting on your lead, buddy.
Kicking it with Reese Crosby and his brother.
Here we go. Oh.
That was an epic start to the Reese Crosby show.
I was not expecting that beat. I mean, I felt like an out-of-body experience.
We're mixing it up.
Yeah, that does hit right every time. So, it's good to be back. Took a week off. 4th of July, travels, a bunch of different things, but excited to be back, kicking it with the Crosbys here. I'm honored to be here with my brother, which we're feeling around ideas because he said he wants to lead the show. So we might be changing the name to Kicking It with Rees Crosby and his brother Mason. So
exactly. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, so Rees,
it's about time.
Go ahead and take it away, since now you are the official head host of the show.
What do you got to say? Time. I've been waiting for this moment. This is the opportunity I've been looking for. I've been craving. I've been churning. I've been burning. I've been snapping necks and cashing checks. And it's my time to shine now. Finally.
Is that what you were doing over on your European journey?
Yeah, I was just over there, just dominating, just Europe left and right.
Connections, business meetings, documents, portfolios. Just all the things, just preparing yourself to take over.
Yeah, I'd say my resume now is strong to quite strong, which is crucial. I think that's going to just take us to the next level.
Well, that's good. So, yeah, that it's definitely something I'd love to hear about. It's crazy. We texted and kind of, we've been in touch here for the last 2 weeks, but I feel like I miss you, buddy. Like, it's been a while.
Aww.
Like, you've been world traveling. Yeah, you went to Ireland, correct? Then to Scotland, then down to London you gone for 10 days, something like that.
Something like that. I even snuck up into Northern Ireland too. So I got 4 countries in one trip.
Wait, it was
awesome.
It's not the same country.
It's not the same country. How dare you?
I know. I was just thinking of Lucas there. That was one of the million countries.
I went to 4 out of a million countries.
We got a long list. We're still
Lucas, waiting. My list is growing, and
hope you're listening, Lucas. We think about you often whenever we're traveling places.
Yeah, it was wild. I ended up going and driving around Ireland, so I was on the other side of the road, which was super interesting. It's super weird whenever you're in a city and you're following people, not as bad. You just follow the traffic. But when you're the first one in line and you're at a red light and there's cars everywhere and you're in downtown Dublin and you got to make a right-hand turn, it's a little interesting. I literally was saying out loud to myself, I was like wide right.
Yeah, exactly.
I would just
the turns are insane.
Out loud, I would have to tell myself to go so that way I wouldn't forget. And the thing that we learned whenever you were driving us around in Scotland all that time was everything's fine until you have to react, and then you react incorrectly.
Yeah,
it's just
the reactions are opposite.
Yeah, I mean, 20 years of driving, and so you
roundabouts
instantly just do the wrong
worst.
I'm not sure I did one correct the whole time. I went left. I did that.
Yeah, and then you're just like looking around, like you're like, where are they coming from? Cars, they're coming from the wrong way.
I had no idea what was going on. I just screamed a lot and just gunned it.
Remember in Scotland when we went for Dad's 60th, and we were going through those towns. First off, let's just talk about Dad for 1 second on that trip. He's like, "Hey guys, I found my old Garmin."
Oh my gosh!
Like
I got
map,
this. Yeah, We won't need our
GPS.
phones. I
It was
got the
the original
GPS.
GPS that like I think had ever been created. And it's like the handheld little box. And he's like, no, we're gonna fall like it works internationally. It's probably better for international travel.
Gonna be great.
Yeah, maps it out. Little did we know, I guess Garmin, at least that one he had, probably didn't have updated maps. Like
Right.
it took us on like the original road that took you from Edinburgh to St. Andrews. It was crazy, but awesome at the same time because we went through a couple towns where literally it's a whole village and the road goes into one lane and like squeezes down. And I'm in a big, like we rented basically like a passenger van, a
Yeah.
big minivan for all our clubs and luggage. And I remember going down, you have to like pull over into a parking spot when another car is coming. And remember there was a double decker bus. I'm just like, we're going to die today. This
Yeah.
is it.
And that happened all the time. There was a couple times where you're driving, you're like, oh wow, this is like a one-way road, and you're like, no, it's not. It is not a one-way
It's
road.
not one way.
There's gonna be a car coming at you any second, and you just gotta go for it. But yeah, so did Ireland, drove into Northern Ireland. That was a blast. I got to see all kinds of stuff. Went to Marble Arch Caves in Northern Ireland. Dublin was great. Did Guinness.
Nice.
Had a pint at one of my friend who lives in Dublin's favorite places called the Harry Lemon. Great name.
I've heard of it.
Over to Galway, Cliffs of Moher,
Mm.
Blarney, Kiss the Blarney Stone.
I saw that on Instagram. That was awesome.
That'll get your heart pumping. You're at the top of a castle and
Upside
you lean over backwards upside down off the side of it. It was an outrage, but
I love that.
I did it for the show. It gives you the gift of the gab. So here I am. Now I'm leading the show. So
that is crazy. Was that the moment that you kind of took over? Oh, man.
I went there to establish a coup, and I was successful. This is my show now. I'm the captain.
All right, lead it. Just keep leading us, Captain, captain.
Oh, thanks. I needed that actually.
Yeah.
And
all right, this show's going to be about 8 minutes long.
Yeah, and we're done. Kicking it with the outro.
We're out.
But no, I mean, and so yeah, one of the things then obviously like when I was over there, the Euros are still happening and were happening actively, and so extended my trip to stay in Scotland to watch the Scotland-Switzerland game.
Ooh,
and
nice.
That was amazing. I am a big fan of like the Scottish fans. They
I bet that
have so much fun. Before the game is great. During the game, like if things aren't going well and it gets stale, they'll start cheering for offsides. It was just like just to keep it interesting. It was just an amazing time, and they tied 1-1, but everyone's spirits were still high, and it was a great time being there. And then on the flip side, after that, I took the train down to London and watched England play in the Euros the very next day. And that was the complete opposite experience. Everyone was complaining and quiet and just standing still. And they're like, we're going to lose. This is going to be terrible. Everyone's terrible. This is the worst team I've ever seen. And then they score and they're like, it's coming home. Let's go.
We're going to win it all.
Just like the polar opposite at any given moment. And it was an interesting, like
That's
two
awesome.
Different things. And
awesome.
Now here we are sitting here, and England's in the semifinals. So crazy turn of events.
I mean, their journey into the semis have been it's been interesting. Like, talk about, well, again, the critics, the pundits, whatever you want to call them, like everyone analyzing
pundits.
their team.
I always have to call them pundits.
They're pundits, yeah. But it's even so the English former football players are, they're very critical of the team, and it's like, it doesn't have to be pretty. I mean, they're in the semifinals of the Euros and they're finding ways to win. They're kind of like a gritty team. Their defense is exceptional. But yeah, it's just like nobody on that team wants to just take it and score. It's like they just have this conservative type play about them that is, that's what everyone talks about, is just how they get up in a game, then they pile everyone back. And I mean, Harry Kane is literally playing defense in his own 18-yard box, like not after a corner, mind you. It's like just open play. And he's just he's just back there, which again, I'll give him credit. He made a great tackle inside the box when they were setting up for a potential tying goal there, or winning goal. So it was necessary, but like it's just like they're not stretching the field. It's like Kane needs to just be sitting on that last defender, like never crossing midfield, just like toes on midfield, and making them always defend him in that space. But
Well, and
let's
it's
not get
funny.
let's not get on Harry Kane talk.
Oh no, that's all I'm going to talk about.
Where
That's
that's
all
going.
I want to talk about now.
Well, let's talk about a couple other teams. What other games did you watch? I will not discuss Harry Kane. It's not going to happen.
As you guys are probably figuring out, it's Mason's least favorite player is Harry Kane. So we're just going to throw that out there. We're going to try to get him on the show, and you guys can talk it out, and maybe you can be bros. But
honestly, I think I would really enjoy talking to Harry, and like everything I've heard and like seen about him, great guy and all that. I do not enjoy watching him play soccer. It is.
So usually how that works.
Knows? He might have hated watching me play. Maybe that's why he thought he could be an NFL kicker, because he watched me. Great.
I heard in an interview one time that he was like, "Oh yeah, the guy from Green Bay, Jason, or whatever."
Exactly.
He, great guy. Seems like a good guy. Just it makes me sick watching him kick. It just I want to throw up.
Stop.
In my trousers.
My trousers.
That's because that's like a word.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's
gosh. All right, we got to get Harry Kane on here.
Harry,
I just want him to explain to me his style of play and what he's like trying to do on the field.
Convince you.
Because if he tells me what he's trying to do, then maybe I'll view how he plays differently. I don't know. I mean, he's a prolific goal scorer. You can never take that away. Like, he is unbelievable at scoring goals. So I'm stopping. I have a lot of opinions. So
how much time do we have? I can dive into this.
All right. Nope, we're not going down this rabbit hole. I want to talk about some other things and some other teams and some of your thoughts. I know you were over there. Oh, I was over there. I'm Scottish. I love them. So yeah. So
am I better than you right now? Because I just came back from the UK. A little bit.
Yeah. I mean, you now have your own podcast, which I get to be a guest on occasionally.
Thank you.
And I mean, you have experienced something I haven't. So remember we were in Scotland when the World Cup was going on last, and we were in Scotland watching an England game, just realizing kind of the weirdness that's still there. And that was fascinating. And that kind of talk about like what fandom is over there in Europe compared to even here. I mean, there's jests of, your team stinks, like, all this, but the literal live or die by your team in those countries is real. I mean, look at the Euros, look at the Dutch. Dutch like celebrating and like leading up to games is spectacular. I mean, and they're probably super nice to everybody, but it's like, would you want to go and be like in the middle of that, being another team? Like, it'd be crazy.
It'd be intimidating for sure. The Euros are on a whole nother level of just like you said, the fandom and what it looks like and the play and everything about it is just like next level. And then when you switch to Copa America, it's like cats fighting in the street. Like it's so funny to see the differences. They're like it feels scrappier, it feels a little more wild and crazy, whereas like the Euros feel very elegant and sophisticated, and then you flip over and it's just Wild West over here. And
think about it, like you would think, oh man, there's no way any team in the Copa America could beat a European team, especially like kind of how it's viewed and broadcasted like in these times. And then Argentina wins the World Cup, and
Yeah.
it's not that like they're necessarily overall better. It's just the style of play, like what it looks like. I even think like
Right.
the refereeing. I mean, so when you were gone, and we haven't talked about this, so I'm sure you saw that I went to
Hot
the
takes.
U.S. men's national team
Oh,
game
I did.
versus
Yeah.
Panama.
Yeah.
It hurt me not, you not being here, but you were over. You're European now, so
Yeah.
yeah, I don't even know. Do you support the U.S. men's national team or any American team anymore? Or are you full European?
I will always 1000% support the U.S. men's national team. Don't you worry.
Okay, okay. I I did. We didn't talk about this, so I was testing him, and he passed. But yeah, like last minute, Nolan and I are decide we're going to Atlanta. We're going to go watch this. Like it's too close, so we drive down, cruise right in right before the game. First off, how we do things around our house sometimes. Reese knows this. It's like last minute chaos, all this stuff, and so I just in the planning process at 8 a.m. in the morning, mind you, on like game day, I'm scrambling, getting like tickets set up, doing the whole thing. And then I'm talking to someone and I completely spaced that Atlanta's in the Eastern time zone.
Oh
So,
no. Oh no.
so we're planning on leaving at like, noon or 1 o'clock, something like that. And thinking of, we're going to, time to spare or we'll cruise right in and like right into rush hour traffic. There was a deal, but like I did remember early enough that we were able to leave. We got there right at opening kickoff. So we
Oh my
cruise in.
gosh.
I literally walk in, we get to our seats, and then that's when I got the red card. Yeah.
No.
It was crazy.
Oh my
I
gosh.
know. And didn't I think when we were walking like to our seats, that's when McKinney had a goal that was called back, right?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So we
then
hear
yeah, the
everything.
way it
We're
goes
like, all
out.
right, we're up 1-0. Like, and then we get to our seats and Way is getting a red card. It's 0-0. And we're like, what just happened? It was nuts. And yeah, I think we should dive into a little bit about, what's going on there and like, what our feelings are and where we might think they should go. And
Oof.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
I mean,
just
we have to.
honestly, our undying support for U.S. soccer and what they're trying to do. Watching from like the ground up, like with my kids and everything, like I do feel a shift in what is trying to be done in our country and developing players and getting them to the right spot. We're just it's just such a big, diverse country that it's hard to keep it cohesive. Like when you think about Europe, think about France or Spain or whatever, it's like each one of those countries is a state. It's like,
Sure.
the size of a state in the United States. So it's like, yeah, it'd be much easier to say, all right, the state of Tennessee or the state of Texas or what this is our style of play. This is what we're going to do. We're going to get players from this state and, do that. So who knows? Maybe we need to have two national teams
A good one, and
or 50
whatever.
national teams. We just
Yeah.
state teams. We just have state teams and we go out there and battle it out.
The Republic of Texas versus the world.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Being
it's
from
it.
Texas, we would definitely go for that.
Well, yeah, and I mean, again, like you said, like I think you can fit like 2.5 UKs into just the state of Texas itself,
Yeah.
and all our professional teams that we have. I mean, and the level of the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, hockey, like you have all of these other opportunities. And also, I mean, yeah, if you mentioned it, like going to the very bottom level of like where you start of like like youth stuff is it's expensive. It is so expensive. So
Yep.
then you lose potential people there. But then yeah, I mean, just as you come up, and then we have these national team players that are like they're fantastic. We didn't really have any MLS guys on the roster at all. Everyone plays in Europe for the most part, some in some of the biggest clubs in the world.
Yeah.
And when you don't perform, I mean, who cares? Like, who cares where you are and what's happening? Like, just win, man. Like, that's really all it comes down to. And the fact that we have this talent and can't win and are the first host country to not make it out of the group stages is, I mean, it's embarrassing, to be honest.
Yeah, especially
Like,
with the teams that that we're playing against. It's I mean,
sure.
unfortunate circumstance, not a great decision by Weah, obviously, in that game.
Right.
You get a red card that early, like it's tough whoever you're playing. Like it's going to
Yeah.
be a battle. Um, it's just like in the NFL. If you get a player ejected, you know, you're starting to, linebacker or, corner or some, a big, one of your big name players, you get him ejected in the first quarter, you get to at least replace him,
That's
obviously. In
true.
soccer, you play a man down, and that's a long stretch of game to hold on. And I thought, I get that's what's such a bummer that the result was what it was, because we played, I thought, exceptionally well, being despite being a man down. um
Yeah.
the Balogun goal was awesome.
That's
Their
insane. Thank
Panama's
goodness for
goal was
him.
just scrappy and gross. But they made it happen, both of them. The refereeing throughout that
Oh,
game was real poor. I mean,
it
Palissa
was
got
worse the next
headbutted
game,
and
but
tackled in the box on that, like a through ball. Like,
yeah.
just he just lost complete control of that game. And that's the stuff, like watching. It's funny watching the Euros. It's like I feel like I know all those referees from watching Premier League and watching
Right.
like European. I'm like,
Right.
oh man, okay, I know this ref. Like, know kind of what his style is, what he's going to call. Um, some of the Copa America refs you've seen, like I've seen before in international games and things like that, but it's like they just feel like wild cards, and it's like
Yeah.
this different feel every time. Every time a Copa America game's played, and I think that's sadly probably some of the frustration with potential fans in the U.S. like watching this. Whenever I talk to kind of non-soccer fans and they watch a game, like, so Jordy Nelson was here over the 4th of July, and I was deep diving into soccer and just getting him to making him watch some of the games and things like that, and trying to convince his kids to play soccer. Rural Kansas are not too many soccer teams bubbling up there in
Yeah.
the town of
Not a
500 people.
major pipeline for soccer.
No, but I was telling Royal, his son is like 6 feet 6'1". I mean, he's giant. I'm like, man, you would be a
Jeez.
great striker, a great center forward, Harry Kane-esque, if you will.
Whoa.
Just
That good?
hold the ball,
That
shield
fantastic.
everyone off, and then just pass it off. And then when that ball bounces in the middle, just find your foot, just find it. Like, everyone else falls down, you find a way to put it in. I love it. But yeah, so it was fun kind of going. But he's like, I can't stand watching the refs and the guys on the ground and like the stuff, and I get it, but it's also like, I think if we explain, and like US soccer and all these things, like start taking a different approach on how they are trying to play the game, what
Sure.
the game of soccer is in the United States, and like the branding of that. I think that's like the most important piece for them leading up to the World Cup, is literally selling more of the brand of what US soccer is doing, and trying to accomplish, in world soccer terms. Because
Sure.
I feel like there's a lot of non-soccer fans in America that just can't relate to what they're watching.
No, it makes sense, and it is super frustrating. Like, that's the hard thing about the game is, again, if you don't understand, is like when people dive, it's a strategy in a way. Like, you're encouraged to fall, which is a problem.
Yeah.
So like that's the thing is like if you get tripped or kicked and you don't go down, you're not going to get a foul called, so you won't get that set piece play from there. So like you're
Mm-hmm.
encouraged to fall, which is an issue. Um, and there's some strategy to it as well, where like if I fall down here and I get that we get a free kick, it's a good angle at goal, or it just breaks up the play. Like it can mess with the other team.
Yeah.
It's mind games. It's a whole lot of stuff. But it's always the pretending hurt kind of thing that always kills me, and it kills everybody. I love the sport, and it's hard to watch sometimes. So I hear you there. It's a very, very interesting thing to watch, especially if you haven't before, and to be like, hey, our team's really good, and then we don't make it out. It's like, are we any good? So again, to get new fans, we have to be the best. And the women's team has done a great job for a long time of being fantastic and growing the
Yeah.
game and getting fans in there. And it's time for the men's team to step up. We're ranked really high, but we never beat the teams that we should beat, and we never kind of like sneak a win in on a team that's better than us either. So it's very interesting. And again, I know there's some confusion with some of the stuff, and one of the things I do want to point out, with you were talking about Tim Weah when he got the red card, and then he didn't play in the game after that. That's because, for people that don't know, if you get you can get a yellow card, and then if you get two of those in a game, you get a soft red. You get a red card, so you're out the rest of that game. No one can fill your spot, and then you miss the next game also.
Yeah.
Whereas if, like what happened with him, he got what's called a straight red. So no yellow cards, just straight to a red card. And that means he misses that game. No one can replace you. And he misses the next two games after that, because it's like a violent things and dangerous play. So all that being said, like he missed that game. He missed the game against Uruguay, and then he has to miss another game, like a friendly match in the future. So like it's not just like it's done, like it'll carry over, which is absolutely wild to see. But it's stuff like that. Again, there's a lot of like intricate details that go into it that can be confusing, and people don't understand. Like
Yeah, exactly.
offsides. Who the heck knows what offsides is? I still don't know.
Yeah. I'm that's a hot topic for me too. And like VAR in
You
that
want to get you
space.
fired
I
up?
mean, yeah, just like I I'm a firm proponent of we go to soccer in like to the hockey way, where it's like if part of your body is on sides when that ball, is played.
Yeah.
In hockey, I guess the puck has to cross the line. But in soccer, how it works is as soon as the ball leaves the person's foot that is passing it to you, as soon as the ball like touches their foot, you have to be in an onside position. So you can be running, and like as soon as if you time it right, you can be behind the guys way before the ball gets there. But you have to time it correctly. And I just think for VAR purposes, for the flow of the game and like how it is, and like people, especially I guess in the US, I mean, we should implement it in the MLS, something like this, where it maybe attributes to more goal scoring and things like that, where a defender has to be aware of a guy if he's just kind of creeping on his shoulder. If his hip or his leg is on in an onside position, the rest of his body can be off, and they would call that onside. Because the VAR deal where it's like, oh, his pinky or his foot was
Right.
turned, his foot, literally whole body, everything, and we've seen where a foot is turned and
Yeah.
his toes, like at the laces, are across the line, and they call it offsides. Like, to
Yeah.
me, I'm like, especially when they didn't call it offsides in the run of play, like that
Right.
stuff to me is frustrating. And again, you and I are huge fans of the game, but maybe if they just corrected everything, would it not be as frustrating and exciting? Would it not be as good? Because now we all have things to get raged up about and
Yeah. No,
angry
I
and
know.
upset and
And
talk about.
you're right. And I think they are starting to change it to where it has to be like daylight in between the two people for it to be offsides now. So it's starting to lean that way. And then there's going to be the same problem of like a guy is running, but like his toes barely over the other guy's toe, so he's offside still, or he's onside. And it's just going to be it's going to be never ending. There's always going to be arguments. There's always going to be problems. So it's just part of the game. I mean,
Well, and then like in
it's how
the
it goes in the NFL too. I mean, like, there's a flag, and or like there's a pass interference call, or there's not, or it's very obvious to everyone in the world that his toe was on like slightly on the line and out of bounds, but then they call it good and you're like, what the heck is happening? So like
Yeah.
no sport with replay is perfect, whether
I
it
know.
comes down to computers
What
or
is it? What is a
humans.
catch? What is,
What happens when the Cowboys throw it to Des Bryant and does he catch it or not? I mean, the usual.
yeah. How do you
Shout
define a
out to all the
catch?
Cowboys fans out there.
What
I
is a
like how
catch?
I just love that how we can go straight from soccer to instantly just bashing the Dallas Cowboys for like, something that happened 10
Well,
years ago. It's
it's just
fantastic.
unfortunate. Yeah, it was the Cowboys that happened to, but
It was fortunate.
I do love all that talk, and it's always so interesting where this is where sport is so awesome. And like, I mean, it happens in a backyard pickup game. If this would have
Yeah.
happened, I would have won. If like this didn't happen, we would have won. I mean, that's literally the argument I always get, as a Dallas fan or something like that. They're like, if we would have scored there, if we that would have been a catch, then we would have won that game. It was like, how do you see that? Like, they would have been up what, 2 points or something like that, and we had, I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers with 2 minutes left or a minute 45, whatever it was. I
He's
don't
pretty
think so.
decent.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I just don't like, or it's just like, it doesn't mean you win the game. Like, that's what's the beauty of
I
football
feel
and
I
soccer
feel
and
like there was
everything.
like
Every
I feel
touch,
like
every turn can
yeah,
change the whole like the whole trajectory of a game. Like, every little thing matters, and it just shifts and flows, and that's what makes the natural drama of sport.
beautiful.
I like to
Beautiful.
I feel really good about what I just said. So
You nailed that.
mm,
Look, goosebumps.
yeah,
Goosebumps.
whatever. It's your show. You tell me what to say. I mean, I have a script over here. Reese is like, oh, just okay.
You
He's
have a
a real.
script?
Well, you gave it to me.
Did I?
Yeah, you're super scripted now. It's
I'm
just
just like
like
I'm so locked in. I'm so focused. I'm just like, let's talk about this. Let's say these things. Like, here we go. Tick 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 tick. I'm just typing.
just a big note taker. Really,
That's all.
yeah, just
I'm very
super locked in.
organized. I'm
Yeah, you're
very
just
organized.
you want a tight schedule. You want to
Yeah.
run a tight ship. No
Boom.
flying off the cuff. Like, I get you. I'll stay in line, Reese. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So looks like section 34B, row 12 says that on the script we need to talk about the next topic, which is you try to be like good at golf, but as we all
Is
try,
that
it's a very difficult sport. And you just went to Bandon Dunes, where I just absolutely shine at Bandon in Oregon. That's basically my home course. It's where I became a man at golf. Just out there slinging golf balls all over the place. And you just went back. And what's it like? How's the weather? How's the golf? You crushing
yeah.
it or you sloppy? What's happening in the golf world,
The
Mason?
game was pretty tight this trip. Yeah, I feel like I'm finally turning the corner.
Finally,
It's been really bad. Like, didn't you almost beat me one time?
I did. Yeah, which is not good.
Yeah, that's saying I was really bad. I So Reese's
I like how
left-handed.
you're insulting yourself, but yet you're like severely
That's
insulted
my
me at the
style.
same time.
That's how I do it.
You almost beat me, therefore I was horrific.
I will
Worst round
never
I've ever played.
I will always take you down with me. Um but yeah, so Reese is lefty, for anyone that didn't know that. And to his dismay, is him being a lefty means he doesn't get any of my clubs whenever I change clubs every couple months. So
Thank you. I was waiting. I was like, what's he gonna say? Is he gonna say year? Because that's a
no,
lie.
yeah, right. I mean, I'm a realist. I know. If
Good.
that game's not tight, you switch clubs. It's fine. It's just like, let's change it up. Something's not working here. I'm a field player. I got to go out there and feel good. So yeah, out in Bandon, it's a cool event. Go for Joey Harrington's foundation for giving scholarships to kids up in Oregon. They're based out of Portland, but I think they kind of reach throughout the whole state, and they've given over, I think, 50 scholarships to kids, and help with school type things and getting them through high school and then into college. So it's a cool organization. And he flies out. What it has been a Pac-12 event. So he flies out 2 players from every Pac-12 team, and we go out and battle at Bandon and battle it out, and talking trash. It's awesome. I mean, I didn't play in the Pac-12, so I remind him of that every year. But I'm like, okay, I'll represent Colorado while we've been in the Pac-12, which is awesome, and I get to go out to Bandon doing so.
Yeah.
They were asking me that, like, one of the questions at the event, a little recording, was like, who was the best Pac-12 player you ever played against? And I was like, oh, I was like trying to think like when we played them. I mean, we played UCLA,
Huh.
So I guess
Yeah.
I played
Yeah, you had
against
to think like
Mercedes
non-conference
Lewis,
games.
maybe. Brandon Schiller blocked a field
Oh,
goal when we played UCLA.
yeah, that was
That
at
was back.
Boulder. I
That was
remember. That
back
was
when they
in.
could. That's back when they could push and like just
Oh,
destroy the
okay.
center. I mean, they literally put 4 guys in the A gap, and then just. I mean, Chiller was probably 6 feet away from me, like just
I
flying through the air.
I remember that because that was unfortunately the first time you were ever in Sports Illustrated
That's
was
true.
the photo of Brandon blocking it with the flat irons in the background. Beautiful photo, but
It was a nice shot.
unfortunately the first time you were in Sports Illustrated was Brandon
It was
Schiller.
deep in his hand. Like, I mean, it was
It
like, I think
was.
he almost like, it was like wrist. Like,
Oh,
yeah, it was bad. I'll say it was, everyone got pushed back. I hit a great ball, but he
yeah,
just did
perfect
it. He just did a great job. But then I ended up
athlete.
playing with Chiller there in Green Bay for a while. He was a great teammate. That was awesome. And ironically, Mercedes Lewis, who was on that UCLA team as well. So
Nice.
I didn't answer the question at the event, but I just answered it now, so they can use it if they want. But anyways, yeah. So going back out to Bandon. Sorry, Reese, stick to the script. Sorry.
Gotta get to the script. Line 34. Go.
So every time I go out there now, I think of our trip, with
Always.
Lucas and Hunter and Tunyon and who else was out there? Tim Boyle,
Tim Blue.
Nate,
Yep.
Griff, man,
The Pumpkin Five.
Pumpkin Five, Fish. Oh man, we had a good group. That was awesome.
Yep.
Oh yeah, Michael, Lucas's brother-in-law.
Yep.
There were some moments in that trip that are hard to match, but I will say, going back, I feel like I relive it every time. Just like every hole, everything. Like, it's just such an amazing place. And we ended up, Colorado took home the victory this year.
Colorado.
So
Sco Buffs.
yeah, we can't, it's
Buffaloes.
it's
Go
the end of the
CU.
Pac-12, and Colorado finally got a championship. We got it done.
They did it.
Yeah.
They did it.
And
it's been a long time coming.
yeah, we've been sniffing at it for a little bit, but I think it's a good omen, for Prime there at this year. So we kind of led the way with the victory
First win
there
of the
in
season.
Bandon. Yeah, I mean, we played a lot of Pac-12 teams, which we're not going to play this year, but yeah, exactly. It's a Pac-2 now. I'm teaching you some stuff. So that was a fun thing, because Oregon State and Washington State are the 2 teams. Is that right? I think that's right. Yeah, Washington State and Oregon State are the 2 teams that didn't make it to another.
No one's gonna Google it or anything.
Another
so
conference. Yeah, don't worry. Don't Google anything.
Don't Google that.
But like Johnny Hecker was out there, and he's so funny, and just talking about like he's trying to, like, all right, what do we need to do to get invited back to this thing if it scatters around? Like, we still have the rights to the Pac-12 name. We'll keep it like the same, because it's still going to be called the Pac-12, even though there's only 2 teams playing in it.
Totally.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't know where anyone's playing football next year anymore. It's just a free for all. I'll just figure out what happens whenever I turn the TV on.
It really is. Like, we were kind of piecing it together, and I realized how bad I was at following some of the moves and everything. But
sure,
Colorado's back in the Big 12. Who's in the SEC now? I mean, you got Texas goes to the SEC, which is nutso. But I feel like there were mixed reviews on that. I felt like it was obviously in the Big 12, like with what they did with TV and all that, like they were kind of the big show. But now moving to the SEC, I do feel like they are going to be able to grab some players back that maybe they had lost over the last few years with A&M going to the SEC and like some of
Right.
these other teams where it's like Texas, it used to just be when Mac Brown was the coach, it was like, all right, if you're the best player in the state, Texas kind of decides if they want you or not, and then you get recruited by everyone else. That's how
Yeah,
it felt
spot
like
on.
whenever when we were growing up down there. But they, not that they fell off and don't have talent and all that. I mean, they have exceptional players, but it just was. I just feel like the SEC does draw that back to them, where I felt like they were gonna come and be dominant. Guys that are SEC guys or whatever, and they like they're like, oh no, they're gonna get dominated in the SEC, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure I see it that way. I mean, Texas will get the guys that they need, and they're going to go out there and do well. So it's going to be interesting these next couple of years as these major, these huge conferences kind of play out and unfold. And like it's like we were even talking in that about, is it going to be like just almost a NFL type situation where you have divisions and it's just one, mega like top team conferences. It's
Right.
32 teams or whatever, and you make it like the NFL, and it's like regional and different things like that, and and then you play to a championship. But that kind of thing, the money will talk, and we'll see where that leads us. So money
Yeah.
always talks, Reese. If you didn't know that, money does talk.
Money does talk. I don't have a lot of it, so it's really quiet, but I do hear it say stuff from time to time. But what I'm
Speak to
excited
me.
about, with all the switching around is we get to have a rivalry now between our teams again.
That is
Since
good.
I went to Texas Tech, you went to Colorado, and now we get to play each other again. So I think we're gonna have to make a bet on the podcast to
For sure.
follow through
And
whenever
on
it
the week
happens.
of that game, I say we go watch wherever it is.
Okay, yeah, obviously.
Why don't we go? Like we either go to Lubbock or
Oh, to the
Colorado
game?
to the game.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
not
going to
afraid.
the game, and
I'm not afraid.
we'll podcast either from there or the week of, and yeah, we'll
Perfect.
do a little live show from wherever they're playing. I think that's what's needed.
I think it's gonna happen. I'm
And
excited.
I'm looking up behind you. Yeah,
Oh,
you don't
Colorado.
have any tech stuff up there. I see
I
any
know,
tech stuff.
Dad went to Tech and he
Wow,
has
that's messed
nothing.
up.
Like, I don't understand what's going on.
And no, that's not a
First off,
Cleveland.
and
That's not
like,
a Cleveland Browns helmet, is it? That's
no,
his
that
high
was
school
his high
helmet.
school
I know.
helmet.
Just
And
wanted to
then my
clarify.
Georgetown. I don't know why you have two. Why do you have three helmets? I don't understand. Like,
Well, come on.
there's like, oh, there's Mason, a bobblehead of Mason, and like, oh, Mason's over there, and then Mason's over here. I'm freaking in like one thing over here that no
Oh,
one
there is
sees.
my bobblehead.
Unbelievable.
Oh, that looks
Yeah,
nice. That was a big moment.
it's right there.
Whenever I got a bobblehead, that was a big
Mc,
moment. That was the
McDonald's
McDonald's Cup.
Cup.
Yep,
That was a cool
McDonald
one.
driver. That
I
was a
remember
nice
that one.
commercial. Go check it out if you can find that one. That'd be a deep dive.
The owner of the Green Bay Packers. I'm in his office. There's some
Packers.
stock there.
Yeah, well, he's probably calling weekly, just to get some things
Checking.
changed. Yeah, Dad.
Oh
We're gonna
no.
have Dad on this at some point, and I think that's gonna really tip the scales for this podcast.
It's gonna be a
He
game
is
changer. I mean, look at his office. He's a super fan, obviously.
well.
So
He's set up. He's ready to roll. He's
he's
already
got it.
ready for this pod. I think he set it up thinking he was going to be part of the show because it's kicking it with the Crosbys, and we just left him out. I mean, that's kind of messed up.
We'll have to bring him in. I mean, he's got like a croquet mallet up here, so like he's literally ready for any sport that needs to
Anything.
happen. He's
I mean,
like,
he can.
"Oh, you want to play the banjo while we do croquet? I got you covered, man. That's
Yeah,
all in the office." So like, we're ready.
and then the skinny tennis racket or whatever that is. Is
My
that a
favorite is this is in his office. It's a third place award at age 9 in 1967 to Jim Crosby, punt, pass, and kick.
there
And
you go.
he's
See,
just
That's
displaying it in the
that's
office.
where we got it from. That's the athleticism. That's third place.
Like I won a state championship. I beat Andrew Luck in the state championship of 7 on
Nothing
7.
for
That is
that.
a third place award, and none of my stuff is anywhere. I don't understand.
Well, we don't have time for this segment of who's their favorite child, but we can
I
dive
think
into that in the next
we
episode.
just did that segment.
We
Next
can-
segment is why Reese likes emo music.
oh man, can we do the intro for the next show? Can it be one of your favorite
Some like
emo songs?
some emo song. Oh, they're all my favorite. Yeah, but for
Yeah,
sure.
just some angsty teen, anthem that you rocked whenever you were, when you were growing up.
I don't understand what you mean rocked. That I still rock
Yeah, I
because
mean
it wasn't just a phase.
we're still working through things.
It's a lifestyle. Speaking of that, what I'm super pumped for is you and I are going to go to a Creed concert. And
Oh
I
my
am
gosh.
fired up. It's going to take
I'm
me
glad you brought it up
higher.
because I was going to talk about that too.
Can you take me higher? Oh my gosh. I'm going to take my shirt
off. Is Creed here right now?
They
That
were
was
here.
amazing.
That was guys, it's not a copyright infringement. That was me. I was
Voice of an angel. Like Creed just came through your body, out your mouth.
Out my mouth. Made that with my mouth.
With my mouth. No,
I'm not gonna lie. Like
that was beautiful.
Before I started, I was 6 feet from the edge, and I was thinking like maybe 6 feet ain't so far down. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sing higher right now, and I just it was all just happening. I was just vibing and feeling, and I was like, it was good.
I do think that's the beauty of Creed. I think we all think that we can sing like Creed. I mean,
Scott Stapp, voice of an angel, but yeah, relatable. I feel like
I don't know, just how he like kind of how he goes and like if you just go deep and get in there, then you feel
like that was it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh, dude, I'm juiced. That's gonna be so awesome. Their first show, they are opening in Green Bay, Wisconsin. First show back on tour. So when we saw that, Molly was like, "Wait, they're coming to Tennessee. Like we live in Tennessee now. Like why aren't we doing?" I'm like, "Molly, it's in Green Bay, first show of their new tour. Like, why would we not do that?
You gotta be there."
Yeah, I think it's going to be a awesome time. We're going to rock it out. We will post pictures. We'll show some stuff. I mean, we'll do next week's show from Green Bay.
Perfect. We'll get Scott or Mark on the show, and
probably.
It's standard stuff.
Just standard stuff. Talking about kind of their inspiration for their music, why they chose that. It's people like Reese, I think, that kind of inspired.
Well, like I literally what children don't stop dancing, and I was like, that's me, and I was like, I'm the child, and I don't stop dancing, and I was like, this song's about me, so it's like it's a part of my life. And I dig it. So we're gonna see Creed. I'm gonna see Creed when they come to Nashville by myself. I bought one ticket to Creed.
Are you going to every show?
I'm gonna try. Okay. And then after that, I get to see Avril and Simple Plan. Like it's gonna be. I don't know what year.
I thought I was coming to that with you.
Digging it. Yeah, I got a ticket.
Did I get kicked out of that one?
No, I have an extra ticket. It's yours if you want it.
Oh, Simple Plan. That's They play some of your music.
I know. And it makes sense that we're talking about Simple Plan in Dad's office and he's not even here. Jeez. Hey, Dad, look at me. Think back and talk to me. Did I grow up according to plan? Sorry. That was Simple Plan.
That was.
And I nailed that too, kind of.
I do think it's time now, though, after, joking about some of this, to get Dad on at some point and just go over all of the things that make this family interesting and amazing.
We
basically just make stuff up, and then Dad gets mad at us or like makes it tells us we're liars and doesn't understand why we're saying what we're saying.
It's just to rile him up. That's always the best part.
Yep, that old Texas bear gets all riled up.
You don't know. You can't do it there. It's great. That's my favorite thing.
We all have dad voices for our fathers out there, and it's like, Reese's is like, do your dad voice.
I closed my eyes and I was like,
Did you
Dad,
think it
are you
was
in the
him?
room?
Oh my
I
gosh, I'm
did.
not turning into him. Not yet.
That was
Don't do it.
good.
Yeah.
Way to go, Jim. I'm Mason.
Oh God, don't do that. Not yet. Not yet. You're stupid like your father.
My father's a brilliant man. You don't even know.
You don't even know.
You don't even know.
All right. Well, oh man, I'm glad you brought up Creed. It's good to be back. I missed doing the show last week. It was good to maybe take a breather and get this thing rolling again. But we'll get this thing rolling steady here for the next foreseeable future, and you'll start rolling some guests on. I think we're going to do maybe some shorter guest segments, just have them pop in and talk about some interesting things, and then you get to hear more from your host Rees Crosby and
yes,
and a special friend and guest Mason. Just if I'm fortunate enough to get on the script that day. So thanks for having us, Rees. Thanks for putting us on on your show and allowing me to to come out here and talk for a couple minutes.
Yeah, glad to have you, Jason. Thank you. It was nice.
Oh, that's Reese's thing. He just wants to put me on my place. He thinks I'm too high and mighty.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. That was like on the final note. That was always the funny thing, was as brothers and like just the sibling that comes with it, a sibling rivalry that comes with it. Is Mom was always like, "Wouldn't that be great? Like, if you made it to the NFL and you could hold the ball for Mason." I was like, "I want to be on the other side and I want to block it. Like, that's my whole goal. Like that way, I get to talk trash, and then if you make it, you get to talk trash. Like, it's way more fun that way."
Yeah, but, I mean, that's a little brother syndrome. So it's. I mean,
I don't have a comeback for that one.
No, I'm pretty sure that's real diagnosis. So maybe next time we'll have a therapist on to talk about all of our problems. But again, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming on. It's awesome to be back and crushing it after the 4th of July, and have an awesome week. We'll catch you next time. Let's go, Crew! Kicking it with the Crosbys.